At level 1, this is the biggest layer of the Empire, and the one seen most across the galaxy. These people keep everything moving, from doors that open on time to giant cannons that fire when ordered. Stormtroopers stand guard, patrol long halls, ride dropships, and clear rooms. Imperial Army troopers dig trenches, set up heavy blasters, drive troop carriers, guide walkers over rocks and mud, and hold ground after the first attack ends. Navy crew members keep starships alive. They load the huge lasers, watch the shield meters, catch TIE fighters with tractor beams, refuel engines, fix cracked pipes, and push fire carts when sparks fly in a corridor. Their uniforms tell you who they are, but not always who is in charge. Stormtrooper armor is kept plain on purpose. It hides personal rank, so squads follow the voice on the helmet and switch roles fast. Sometimes you'll see a pauldron, a colored shoulder plate, like orange or black on a squad leader, but most troopers look the same. Army troopers wear colored patches and small chevrons on sleeves to show their role, like rifleman, gunner, or driver, and to mark who leads a fire team. Navy crew wear gray or black uniforms with small trade symbols on the sleeve or chest that show their specialty, like gunnery, engineering, or medical. You might notice pocket pens on some uniforms, but the real keys most crew carry are simple ID cards. The fancy metal cylinders are usually for higher ranks. Training starts the same for everyone: how to shoot straight, seal a suit, fight a fire, and follow orders when alarms scream. Then they learn a job. A laser loader learns when to charge and when to cool so the barrel doesn't melt. A hangar rigger learns hand signals so a TIE fighter doesn't clip its wings. A shipboard stormtrooper learns to open blast doors in the right order so the air doesn't yank anyone into space. Promotions at this level come from doing the job right every day. If your cannon never overheats, if your squad clears rooms safely, if your deck crew turns fighters around fast and without crashes, your name goes on the list for leadership tests. When a team needs a steady hand to set the pace and make quick choices in the middle of noise and smoke, someone steps up from the line. That is when we get to level 2, the non-commissioned officer. Non-commissioned officers are the heartbeat of the Empire. A corporal leads 4 troopers and turns a quick order into clear steps. Who watches the corner, who throws the stun grenade, who pulls the wounded back, and who double-checks the door. A sergeant runs a whole squad and makes sure nobody gets pushed too hard or too long. They match the tech expert with the door that needs slicing and keep the medic close to where trouble is most likely. In the Army, a platoon sergeant makes sure bullets, food, water, and batteries are always where they need to be, while the lieutenant talks on the radio to the higher boss. On ships, petty officers guide small teams in the shield room, the gun bays, or the engine core. A chief petty officer is the person who says, "We are not jumping to hyperspace until that coolant pipe is fixed," even if a young officer wants to rush. You can spot NCOs by smaller markings meant for their branch. Army NCOs wear extra chevrons and rockers on their sleeves, sometimes with a tiny symbol in the middle for specialty. A squad leader's pauldron on stormtrooper armor can show who has the final say inside a fight. Navy petty officers often have sleeve knots or stripes and a clear trade emblem. Chiefs wear a different cap and carry more tool access than most. NCOs do not wear the colorful chest plaques, and they rarely carry code cylinders because those belong to officers. Their power is hands-on and local. They write the duty chart, check every tool, and fix problems before the bridge even hears about them. Good NCOs also spot talent. They see which trooper stays calm when alarms go off and which deckhand learns fast after a mistake, and they push those people toward school and bigger jobs. Above the sergeant's steady hand comes the first layer of true command. The junior officers who wear the first bright squares and carry the first real keys at level 3. Junior officers lead small groups on the ground and single sections on a ship. An Army lieutenant runs a platoon of 3 or 4 squads. An armor captain here is a company grade officer, not a ship captain. and might lead a group of walkers that moves like a pack. In the Navy, an ensign watches the sensor pit, and a lieutenant runs a gun battery, a hangar shift, or a damage control team. This is where the colorful chest plaques and code cylinders start to matter. The plaque is a small block on the chest with red and blue squares arranged in rows. The number and pattern of squares shows rank and job band. For example, a junior Navy officer might have a short plaque like 2 red over 2 blue. An Army lieutenant's tunic might show a smaller pattern with fewer squares. The colors are not random. Red and blue combinations match charts, kept by the ship or base so everyone knows who can sign what order. Code cylinders are metal sticks that slide into pockets high on the chest. They are not pens. Each one holds access codes. Think of them as master keys for doors, data, or comms. A junior officer may carry 1 or 2 cylinders, which can open a sensor console, pull up target files, or unlock a secured corridor. Their job is to turn the commander's goal into a simple plan people can follow. They pick the route, choose who covers who, set the time to move, and write a backup if things go wrong. They report up so the boss knows the truth, and report down so squads know the next step. New officers often talk too much on the net or stare at one hallway and miss the side door. The ones who learn protect their people, hit the target, and bring everyone back with gear that still works. Those officers get picked for the next level, and their plaques and cylinder count grow with their rights and duties. When one pair of hands is not enough, and many squads or ship sections must act like one, the Empire hands the wheel to leaders who manage whole slices at once with Level 4 company and department command. A company commander on the ground leads 3 or 4 platoons at once, plus engineers, medics, and heavy weapon crews. A major often serves as the second in command for the whole battalion, running the current fight while the colonel plans the next. On a Star Destroyer, a department head may run all gunnery, all engineering, the entire flight deck, or the operations center that handles sensors, navigation, and communications. Their uniforms show the jump in trust. A company commander's plaque is longer than a lieutenant's and may stack more squares in a new pattern, such as 3 red over 3 blue. A department head's Navy plaque can be even longer, and they often carry 2 to 4 code cylinders, 1 for doors in their area, 1 for system overrides, and maybe 1 for emergency comms. You can see this on busy bridges. A gunnery officer with a longer plaque can sign a battery's firing plan. An engineering head with extra cylinders can lock out a reactor panel if it starts to fail. These leaders write short rules so teams act fast without waiting. Use ion shots first to drop shields, then fire the heavy lasers. Rotate shield power around the ship every minute so one side doesn't burn out. If point defense guns hit this heat mark, switch to the backup grid. They decide when to pause a TIE squadron for repairs, even if it hurts today, because it saves pilots tomorrow. The numbers that matter are steady uptime, safe reactors, quick medevac, and clean equipment returns. Get those right, and your plaque and cylinder count are about to step up again. When they step up, a single signature can send a battalion into a narrow alley, or turn a Star Destroyer into the wind. The plaques get wider, the keys get more powerful, and the risk gets real with Level 5 battalion command and warship captaincy. This is the first level where you can win or lose a battle in 1 hour. A lieutenant colonel or colonel runs a battalion or a regiment made of many parts. They blend infantry, armor, artillery, engineers, supply, medics, and air cover into one plan and one clock. A Navy commander might lead a cruiser or frigate, while a Navy captain commands a Star Destroyer, a flying city with a hot heart and miles of corridors. Their insignia says, "Decide now." An Army colonel's plaque stretches longer with extra rows, and their cap and shoulder marks change too. A Star Destroyer captain's plaque is a long set of squares in a strict pattern that other officers recognize instantly. You'll also see multiple code cylinders, often 2 on each side. One cylinder can open armored bridge doors. One pulls fire control maps. one authorizes hyperspace changes, and one can lock down sections during damage control. On screen, Captain Nita's chest shows a long plaque that signals command of a major warship. When a captain says, "Weapons free," the gunnery officer's smaller plaque and fewer cylinders are enough to execute, but not to start without that order. Mistakes at this rank are big and obvious. Drop out of hyperspace in the wrong place, and you appear inside a mine net. Feed companies into a kill zone one by one, and you do not get them back. Relief from command happens fast when that happens. Success sounds simple, but is hard. Move now. Hold 2 more minutes. Shift shields aft. Captains and colonels who win cleanly, protect their people, and keep gear from burning up are the ones who get the flag next, and the plaques that go with it. When single ships and single battalions are only pieces on a bigger board, the job becomes moving whole groups at once. Plaques change again, cylinders multiply, and staff gather around one chair with Level 6 formation command. Here, leaders fight with bundles of units and the minutes between them. A Commodore shapes a small fleet, so it acts like one ship with many arms. Rear, Vice, and Full Admirals run task forces and whole star systems. On the ground, Brigadier Generals and Major or Lieutenant Generals run brigades and corps. Their markings show broad authority. Admirals wear larger plaques with more squares spread in special patterns that only flag officers use, and they often carry 4 code cylinders, 2 for operations and comms, 2 for security and emergency overrides. A Commodore on a flag bridge may hand a cylinder to a watch officer, which is a clear sign that officer now owns a whole screen of ships for the next phase. Ground generals wear longer plaques than colonels and sometimes colored tabs that show field or staff specialty. These leaders sit at tables covered in overlays, while staff officers bring updates. Operations writes the plan. Intelligence warns what the enemy will do next. Logistics tracks fuel and food, and signals keeps the net clean. Fail once here, and the damage spreads to worlds. Chase a decoy fleet and leave the convoy open. Bring lots of guns but forget the tankers. Set rules too harsh, and you spark the next uprising. Good leaders balance force and supply, so the fight does not fall apart a week later. But winning a battle isn't enough for an empire. To hold many worlds, someone must control soldiers and budgets at the same time. And that is at Level 7 sector governance and super governors. A MOF is the boss of a whole sector, many planets and the space between. A MOF controls the army and navy in that sector, the courts, the taxes, the factories, and the news feeds. A Grand MOF is a super governor with even larger power over key routes and famous worlds. Their look shifts from squares to symbols. MOFs often wear staff coats with official sector seals, braided cords, and a simpler plaque that marks their status, but not a ship billet. They still carry code cylinders. But now, those cylinders open budget vaults and priority channels. Not just doors and consoles. Grand MOFs may wear a sash or a special badge that marks supra-sector rule. Grand Moff Tarkin pairs a clean plaque with the authority to command admirals and generals in his region. When a MOF signs a priority fuel order, a destroyer squadron sails. When a MOF delays parts, the same squadron sits cold at a dock. The smart ones calm sectors with fair courts and steady food flow. The foolish ones push quiet worlds into open rebellion. Side by side with governors stand the Watchers and Secret Keepers. They don't drive fleets, but their badges and white coats can pull any lever they want with Level 8 security and intelligence. The Imperial Security Bureau, or ISB, watches the Empire from the inside. ISB officers wear white uniforms with crisp plaques that mark their internal rank, and they often carry multiple code cylinders that open files most people never see. Imperial intelligence runs spies and slicers. Their officers wear darker coats with more muted plaques. Their cylinders open hidden rooms and locked comms. Compnor controls the story people here. Their leaders wear party pins, public ribbons, and sometimes ceremonial sashes rather than combat plaques. Here the markings tell you what kind of power, not just how much. When an ISB colonel in white steps onto a bridge and flashes a cylinder, doors open and missions shift. Intelligence officers may not look flashy, but if they produce a passcode cylinder, the captain knows that the message lane is now under their control. Compnor's symbols work on screens and in speeches. These groups want different things. ISB wants quick arrests. Intelligence wants long-term secrets. Commanders want calm streets. The best officers give each group a win. Maybe ISB gets a public raid, while intelligence quietly keeps one spy in place to catch a bigger network later. If spies can move units, others build them. They run whole projects that change how the Empire fights, and their badges unlock more than doors with Level 9, program directors, and special authorities. Directors command giant programs that rewrite the rulebook. Director Orson Krennic led advanced weapons research. He wore an ivory cape, a clean plaque, and carried high-level cylinders that opened labs and black sites across many systems. His power came from results, and from being close to the throne, not from ship rank. Other directors focus on new starfighters, stronger armor, better radios, or smarter droids. Their days are full of test flights, budget fights, security checks, and progress reports. They rise or fall on milestones. Does it work? Can we build enough? Can it survive real combat? Alongside them, the Inquisitorius hunts Jedi and other Force sensitives. The Grand Inquisitor and his hunters wear dark armor with circular seals and spinning red blade hilts. Their insignia is fear and a writ from the Emperor. They can demand a ship, take a squad, or shut down a port to catch a target. Their badges and rings matter less than the fact that doors open when they arrive. Above project bosses and sector rulers are a few uniforms so bright and so rare that the room slows when they appear. The plaque changes to white cloth, the cylinders carry theater keys, and the orders cross every desk with Level 10, Grand Admirals and Theater Command. A Grand Admiral wears white and holds more freedom than any other naval officer. The plaque on his chest follows a special pattern set aside for this rank. The code cylinders he carries unlock wide command nets and sealed orders across whole regions. Grand Admiral Thrawn shows what this means. He studies the enemy's art and culture to guess how they think under stress. He maps where their fuel and food come from and aims for those spots, instead of chasing small ships forever. He sets traps that pull escorts away from tankers, then hits the tankers so the rest of the fleet starves. He picks attack times so defenders give up before the first city burns. A Grand Admiral doesn't just win one battle. He tries to end the next 10 battles by shaping supply lines, travel lanes, and morale itself. His orders reach the Army, the Navy, and intelligence at once, and still make sense to all three. Few officers reach this height, and if they fail, they vanish fast. If they succeed, whole sectors go quiet without base-melting fire. When a white uniform with a long, special pattern plaque steps onto a flag bridge and sets 2 cylinders on the table, everyone knows the next hour will decide a month. There is one step above even that, where speed beats process, and a single voice can leap past every layer of plaques and keys. You already know him by his haunting breath at Level 11, Supreme Military Executors. A Supreme Executor is not always a written title, but everyone knows it when the lift doors open. Darth Vader wears black, with no plaque and no cylinders, yet his clearance outruns every key. When he arrives, missions change now, not tomorrow. A single order from him can move a fleet, reassign a legion, push a secret project to the front, or decide that a target should be wiped out instead of captured. High Command still writes plans and studies charts, but a figure like Vader shortens the time between we think and we act. He is also the Empire's strongest kind of discipline. Captains who fail while he is watching lose their posts in seconds. Moffs who stall get replaced. This level exists so the Empire can move faster than rebels who spread out and hide. It is power with very little polite talk in the way. People step aside because they know the order will stand, plaque or no plaque. And above even that stands the person who is both the rank and the government, the last key and the final signature with level 12, the Emperor. Emperor Palpatine is the end of the chain. He appoints Moffs and Grand Moffs. He raises admirals or removes them. He shuts down the Senate when it no longer fits his plans. He can pour a whole region's money and metal into one project, like a superlacer, and no one can say no. His robe carries no plaque and no cylinders, because he does not need them. Every door is already his. He controls 4 kinds of power at once. There is legal power, like emergency laws that make his orders final. There is office power, like loyal clerks who send the right forms to the right people and block the rest. There is secret power from the dark side of the Force, which tilts which people rise and which fall. And there is money power, which builds shipyards, fills academies, and feeds armies. He decides if a problem world gets soldiers, stories, or a scary example made of it. Putting all this power in one person makes the Empire quick and sharp. It also means if that one person falls, the system below cracks. When the Emperor is gone, fleets don't know who to listen to. Moffs fight each other, and whole sectors drift until someone new grabs the wheel. If you want to read a room in this world, start with the markings. Squares tell you who can give the order. Cylinders tell you who can open the door. Seals and sashes tell you who signs the checks. And sometimes, like with Vader and the Emperor, the absence of marks is the loudest mark of all. From the Emperor down, the markings tell you everything you need to know. Who can give the order, who can open the door, and who signs off on both. If this video helped you read those rooms for yourself, subscribe so the next briefing reaches you the moment it's out. Drop a note with the sharpest plaque or code cylinder moment you've spotted and why it mattered. And tell me where we should go next. Rebel High Command, New Republic leadership, or Mandalorian clan ranks. The deck is cleared for the next sortie. Thanks for watching!